Okay, so for part one, we are going to talk a little bit more about scientific arguments. You saw this diagram in the Catalyst, and I asked you to make a claim and support it with evidence from the picture. So let's take a look at this picture real quick, and we're just going to use this as an example to help us understand another element of the scientific argument that we're going to be using for this unit. So in this picture, there were a lot of cool things that we observed. The baseball is on the inside of the room. There is a window that has a hole in it with cracks all through it. It's obviously a very broken window. And then on the floor beneath the window, there's a big pile of broken glass. And I don't know exactly what you said your claim was, but I think a pretty basic and simple claim that most of you made is a baseball came through the window and broke the glass. Now, some of you might have come up with a really creative claim like a a huge bird crashed through the window and then flew away. And the baseball has nothing to do with the scenario. But most of you probably just made a pretty simple claim like this. And the second part of this is to choose some evidence or observations that you see in the room to support your claim. So, different evidence that you could use to support your claim. You might have said, there's a hole, like a window with a hole in it. You might have also used evidence of there is glass all over the rug beneath the broken window. And you might have also said there's a baseball on the floor near the glass. So those pieces of evidence do support the claim. But there's another element of the scientific argument that's very important, and we're going to be using that today as we make another claim about geological mystery that I'll be explaining in part two. So in this diagram, we've taken it a step further. We have our claim, the window is broken because a baseball came through the window, and two pieces of evidence from that list, which is there's a glass all over the rug. It looks like the glass came from the window. And another piece of evidence is that there's a baseball on the floor near the glass. But the part that's important for your scientific argument to be solid is that you need to have reasoning. And this is something that would be familiar to all of you. It's the classic CER format that you learned earlier this year and also in seventh and probably sixth grade as well. The reasoning is just why does this evidence support the claim? And that's your chance to really use your skills as a writer and as a scientist to help someone understand why your claim is correct. We did this also in the scientific seminar. So the reasoning here you would list would support this piece of evidence, and again, the reasoning here would support this piece of evidence. For this part one of today's lesson, I would like you to choose one piece of evidence that you use to support your claim in the Catalyst and put it in the discussion box below, and then just write why that evidence supports the claim. So here's an example. This evidence is there's glass all over the rug. It looks like it came from the window. And the reason this supports the claim is it is likely that a baseball came through the window and caused the broken glass. So that's a chance for you to just take the evidence a little bit further and connect the dot back to the claim. So do that in the discussion box below. And then before you move on to part two, after you submit it, go back down to the discussion box and look at what your classmates also wrote as evidence and see if there's other people who made claims and evidence and reasoning that were similar to yours. And you can like their comments or respond to them. And then go ahead and move on to part two. And in part two, I will explain this geologic mystery that we're going to make observations about and write a claim. All right, good luck.